Good afternoon and welcome to Weekly Word from Stitched Head and Heart Project. My name is Hallock and I am the owner and the operator of Stitched Head and Heart. I use progressive techniques like hypnosis and PSYCH-K, and so I work here within the office with clients, but I also work all across the U.S. right now remotely. So I wanted to discuss our second part of the series that we're doing concerning what was derived from 2 weeks ago about the most important relationship, that being the relationship with ourself. I don't want that to seem narcissistic. The purpose of birthing a good relationship with self is so that we can invite a partner into our world, but be a healthy and whole person so that they can complement that relationship. So with that being said, we went into the 4-part series that we're doing. We're in week 2 on the art of receiving. So last week we discussed the importance of identifying. So it was a mindfulness, I guess, technique or practice that I asked you guys to begin to look at. So it's becoming mindful of what blocks are receiving. How do we receive? Do we do it in a well and balanced fashion? And so I asked you all 3 questions to help you become mindful and ask yourself what exactly it is that is very specific to your relationship with receiving. And then this week I wanted to talk about the sources. So after we become mindful, kind of imagine yourself or visualize yourself creating a little home, right? So you're building, the foundation is mindfulness, then we're putting walls up and roofs on. And when we're doing that, we want to know what our sources are. So where does, if any, maladjusted behavior come from, or unhealthy coping come from when it comes to receiving? So we want to rectify this relationship and bring balance to this relationship of receiving and giving, because it will make us a better person, and it will help us to create healthy boundaries and love our partner the best way that we possibly can, and love ourselves the best way that we possibly can. Additionally, in any business situation, it's going to help us to be more mindful of what we deserve for putting our efforts out and our energy out into the world, and our trades and all of those kinds of proficiencies that we have, and that we do receive well from our clientele. And then from a parent-child relationship, you're looking at being a healthy and whole person, so you represent a person who's clear on their needs and clear on their ability to love and give, but also take back from the parent-child relationship. So with that being said, and having your notes out concerning your mindfulness exercise, what did you find? Did you find that your relationship with receiving is out of balance? And if you did, where do you see that? Are you a bigger giver? Are you a bigger receiver? Where are your proficiencies and imbalances? And then as far as the maladjusted sources are concerned, there are some questions there as well, and I will give a couple of possible theories as to why, or what happens when we are not receiving in a healthy fashion, in an equally equitous, level scale kind of fashion. So I wrote down a couple of things here. There are a variety of sources. It can come from childhood trauma. It can come from growing up without, or growing up with too much, and the affluent versus the poverty mindset. So that's one source that you could look at. So the overarching theme, just again for this week, is what are my sources? Where does this come from? In order to be able to fix or reframe, we need to know our sources. So if we know, start with our mindfulness, our foundation. Secondly, what are our sources of maladaptive behavior? And then we can look at reframing or coming up with solutions, which we'll talk about next week, for becoming a better receiver and a better giver. With a humble and loving heart, are able to receive in a healthy fashion and give, without expectation. So no contingencies on our giving. So in the research and things that I've done and the sources in which the imbalance in giving can come from, I wrote down a couple of things. Let's talk about what our childhood looked like as far as money was concerned. Let's discuss what money looks like in our current relationship right now. There are a lot of relationships that are contingent upon love for money, money for love. That unspoken contract in intimate relationships is very dangerous because the energy flow isn't in the same realm. You're not exchanging equal. It's apples for oranges, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So there's that. Additionally, in an imbalance of receiving, it's possible that there is a self-worth issue. While you're willing to give and give and give and give, receiving is very difficult. This can happen in business. This can happen in any relationship where you're feeling like maybe you're not worthy. And those are questions you really have to dig down. Am I not worthy of, and it can be guised in a million different ways. It could be, no, I just do this because I love it. The world needs it. I'm a giver. I'm a humanitarian. I find this within the healing and arts and teaching realms, the more social oriented realms, that people will say it's important for me to give, and I can give of myself. But what happens when we give so much and become these martyrs to this giving is that we become resentful to the source in which we are pouring into, which is unfair to that source because the source wants to give back. And you'll find that in more healthy relationships. So in your receiving, are you willing to say, I am a quality person who provides quality services and I help, and that help has a price tag, and not just a monetary price tag. Obviously, it has a qualitative price tag, and I'm speaking specifically to those arts, but that in mind, just kind of ask yourself, where does it come from? Is it a self-worth thing? Is it a childhood thing? Is it a poverty mentality? Is it a trauma thing? Is it, in opposition to what someone in our life says money is about or receiving is about? And again, it's not just about money, it's about receiving love as well in relationships. It's about receiving compliments. It's about saying thank you and being humble and beautiful in that receiving. Because I think that if we're all giving and receiving in a very healthy fashion, everybody's going to have everything that they need. So that's all I'm probably going to discuss concerning the maladjusted sources. So that's your homework. For next week, you're going to want to bring both the mindfulness and the sources. Where does the dysfunction come from? Because then we will take that information and we will start to come up with solutions. And we will reframe things. How can we be better receivers and givers? So I'll save that for next week, and then we'll have another one after that about what we want to manifest, what we want our future to look like, how will our lives be different because we have chosen to receive in a healthy fashion and give in a healthy fashion. So with that being said, if you have any questions concerning this practice and this 4-week series, you're more than welcome to email me. My email is haley.hallock@gmail.com. You can also email me through my website, which is haleyhallock.com. Let's see, what else? My contact information is all there too. So if you wanted to, you're more than welcome to even just give me a call, and we can discuss this practice, this 4-week process. I'm more than happy to do that. That all is going to be on my website, HaleyHallock.com. And then you're more than welcome to follow us, or even post questions in the YouTube channel below, if they're open enough, if it's not, too private. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. And I look forward to talking to you guys next week. And I'm just going to sign off and say blessings to you, and we will see you next week.